might as well be going into our first topic. Of course, this channel was created so that we cover many topics. This is going to be the first one. We all know what's going on in the world right now. We are all in a bit of uproar and chaos within this virus, within the COVID-19 is what it's called. And we're here today to just talk a little bit about it, to give you some tips, to show you you're not alone with what you're going through and that we are in this as well. I know some fear and uncertainty has come forward for me a lot through this virus showing up. For those of you who know me know that I just had a baby 4 months ago, so I'm dealing with, you know, a newborn baby and going through, all of a sudden we've got a pandemic and the whole world shut down, and I'm just supposed to be being a mother. So there's fear of health. There's fear of, you know, my daughter's not seeing the people she needs to see in her life. I'm having to turn down grandparents and family members. And I'm, you know, people are thinking maybe I'm being a little bit overprotective, but what do? We don't really know what to do. So we're trying to keep our home a little bit germ-free for her own health and safety. I'm also dealing with financial burdens, just like many of you are, of, you know, the work not being there. My husband is a carpenter, so of course he depends on other people, and you know, everything's just kind of on pause right now in our lives. So of course we've got a lot of fear and uncertainty coming up for us. We also have a wedding that's planned in August. I guess he's my fiance, not my husband yet, but it's supposed to happen this summer, and at this point we're really not sure. Is it going to happen? Are we going to be able to bring all of our people forward, or is this something that's going to need to be looked at as being canceled for now? So yeah, that's what's going on in my world.
and I completely get that, Taylor, as well. You know, as someone who is on a few more years in her life than you are, I also have fears as well. I have fears of something happening to my spouse as well. Something happens to my spouse, I'm alone as well. So there's the fear of that, you know, of having that. There's the fear of the financial loss of the markets all kind of crashing at this time. You know, what are we going to do? We're close to retirement. You know, how are we going to make that up? You know, how are we going to move forward as we look into the future? The fear of loss of my parents and my husband's parents. They're elderly, so they're amongst, you know, the ones that are you know, see how I get when I get into spirit. My mind doesn't even work right. Spirit, because spirit is bringing in, you know, even talking about this and bringing forward the fears that we're all feeling are things that could possibly happen, but they're also things that may not happen, and they're things that can really tug at our heart and really bring us down and into a depression, to the point of where we begin acting irrationally. You know, blocking ourselves off, you know, from other people, from family, you know, sitting almost in a depression, because why even do anything? But within all that fear, if we begin to bring ourselves back to the present again and really center ourselves within that present and realize that we are okay in this moment, we are okay. As we take that deep breath and we think, you know what? Just because there's a pandemic, yes, we have to be cautious, we have to be responsible, but I think that that's part of what this is all about, is about us each knowing that we are responsibility and that our actions have far-reaching consequences, regardless if it's a pandemic or if it's just life in general. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And this pandemic has brought all of that to the surface of, holy crap, what if?
And it's, I think the unknown scares everybody so much that we're all, you know, even myself in a moment was sitting in that fear, sitting in that, oh my God, all this could be taken from me, you know, tomorrow. But I think it's about learning, how big of an obstacle are we allowing this to be in our lives? Is this going to be the thing that makes it or breaks it for you? You know, are you really going to let this virus have that control on you? Are you giving it your life? Because I don't think it's worth it, right? How big or small is this going to become in your life? Is this just a little stepping stone? Are you able to see it, acknowledge it, and walk over it? Or is this going to be the thing that pushes you over and breaks you, right? It's all a choice.
Yeah. And that's a choice that's every day. It's not just the virus, it's every day. And this is the fear that people sit in with their life as they look forward. And this is what we talk about with fear. You know, it's an illusion, the unknown, the future, everything that we feel that we're dreaming up within our mind. And this is kind of what we talk about when we talk about ego, and how ego sits there and tells us ego's a good thing, because ego helps us to be responsible when we need to be responsible, because it is our experience. It shows us that, hey, if we jump off this cliff, things aren't going to work out very well for us, you know. But it also teaches us that, you know, we can, if we want to get down to the bottom, we can walk. So being responsible with everything that is around us, you know, walking into the future with excitement instead of with anxiety. You know, when we begin to fear the unknown and really sit there and be concerned about, what if this happens? You know what? Our life is so full of what ifs, and like Taylor and I talked about in the very beginning, we really don't want to know what the future is. And yet here we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we're asking, what does the future hold? Do we really want to know? We want to be responsible, of course, in caring for ourselves and caring for our family. We certainly don't want to create any issues for anyone, or because we are human in this human body, so it can affect every one of us. I don't care if you're a practicing medium. I don't care who you are. If you come into contact with that virus and you're not strong enough to fight it off, you're going to get it. So, and do you really want to know that? Nobody wants to know that. I don't want to know that, you know?
No. And you're totally right, Dean. I think we got to focus on, you know, not what is the future and what's this virus going to do to all of us. It's what can we do right now in this moment to still live a quality, you know, filled life and still do what we need to do here as human beings. I mean, if you're sitting watching the news every day and you're gossiping with all your friends about this virus, and it's just like one thing after the other, and you keep bringing it forward, well, that's all that's in your life right now. That's totally taken over your world. Your little brain, of course, is not functioning or thinking about what it needs to think about, because it's just attached to this drama. It's attached to this chaos. And what's happening in your life, you're literally continuously manifesting this chaos. You're manifesting that this virus takes you. You're manifesting that, you know, all this falls apart in your life because our job could possibly be taken, or we could possibly be financially struggling in the future, or whatever it is. And if you're starting to think those thoughts, you're literally on those tracks that's what's going to come forward in your life. It's like, yeah, next stop, yeah, I'm going to get that virus. And then the next stop after that, I'm going to have financial burdens. And the next stop after that, I could be dealing with somebody dying in front of me, right? So I think that it's totally our responsibility to focus on ourselves right now and what we can do as human beings to stay connected and not be grabbing onto that chaos and drama.
Exactly. We become our own self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
You know, people bring to them what they believe. When we sit in that lower energy and we constantly believe that we're unlucky, it's not that we're unlucky, but things that appear to be unlucky continue to happen to us because that's how we see the world. You know, we talk about people who look at life through rose-colored glasses, and I'm accused of this all the time. Looking at life through take off your rose-colored glasses, you know, and as people see me. But you know what, when you look at life through rose-colored glasses, the world really is a beautiful place. You know, I have seen so many things that have happened within this virus that have brought families together. You know, I actually, and I want to share just a little bit of a personal note here. Of course, most people know that I have 5 children and 9 grandchildren, and so they're my world too. And that's a real big fear for me as well, moving through this virus. I'm afraid for my children's financial future as well as my own. I'm afraid for the health of my grandchildren. I have one grandchild that's supposed to graduate this year. What does this mean for him? You know, there's so many things, but within everybody pulling together, my my daughter-in-law comes up with all these wonderful ideas, and here she was, because they're made to stay at home right now, of course, with the isolation. My son isn't able to work or anything either, but I saw them posting, they had drawn out snakes and ladders on the garage floor, and they were literally playing snakes and ladders in chalk to keep the kids busy. Rather than just having a board game, it was a new spin on it. And they were all standing there and helping one another as a family. So seeing this come together as a family unit is a beautiful thing as well. You know, and we hear all the time, out of the chaos and confusion comes so much beauty. You know, after a fire, there's new growth. And after a storm, you know, the seeds that are blowing, that the beautiful flowers that come up and come through those things, that is just unbelievable. You know, if you've ever seen a flower working its way through the crack in the concrete, there's beauty in every situation. And it's really about sitting in that awareness and being able to see the beauty in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're totally right, Dean. It's like knowing that this isn't it and that there is beauty that's going to come of this. And like we said, it's all about perspective. You know, if you can see that, if you can take yourself to see that little flower growing out of all this, then you're at the right headspace. You're where you need to be, and you will get through it. You know, I know even in our town here, which we're both from the same town, that people are putting hearts out on their windows to show, you know, other children and other people, we're in here together, we're all in this together. And kids are walking around and seeing hearts. Like, hearts should be out all the time. We're spreading love for once. Finally, our world is kind of chaotic and shutting down, and we're finally showing love. We're finally showing people we are all in this together. And for our community, it's bringing us together, which is amazing. So, you know, think about what it's doing for our world. All of us are finally coming together. We're realizing that no matter where we are in the world, we're all connected. Right now, all of our worlds in some way, shape, or form has been changed. You know, everybody, even actors, even hockey players, you know, athletes, everybody, we're all kind of on pause, on hold a little bit in our life, but we're also having this opportunity to grow and develop at home with our family, doing things that, you know, we wouldn't have taken the time to do if we didn't get this opportunity given to us.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Taylor. And even with our YouTube, like Taylor and I had planned on sitting together and, you know, really having a conversation together in the same space. And that's kind of why this was put off too, with everything that happened, you know, with this virus, until we finally decided, you know what, we may as well just do this as YouTube. And that opens up other opportunities for us as well, you know, where we can connect. It doesn't matter where we are in the world, we still can connect. So if we are traveling separately and we want to put together, you know, our show, or to be able to do something, we can do that. So there's many opportunities that can arise when we think that things are negative that are happening around us, you know, to ask ourselves the question, what can I learn from this? What good can come from this? You know, what is the opportunity that is lying within this? What's the light in the darkness?
Exactly. And I've always learned, you know, just from working with clients and just seeing it a lot, that we're so quick to finding what we don't have. And if we can just stop and pause for a moment, all of a sudden we'll realize all the things we do have. I was on a walk the other day with my mom, and she started listing all the things she was grateful for. And I'm standing there like, oh my God, this list can just go on and on. The sun's shining. I'm walking with you. It's a nice day. We're not stressed. We've got our dog and our baby. And it's just like, you know, once you start to list one good thing, you realize, whoa, everything around me is great. That maybe I've been taken from this one thing is not in my life right now, but look at all these other things that are, because we're on pause right now in our lives, which is so beautiful. And I think that's what we're trying to show you right now, even within, you know, our topic today, that yes, there's things that aren't going the way we want them to go right now. And there's uproar and there's chaos. But what about all the things that we do have? Where's all these positives? Let's pull them forward right now. Let's focus on them, because these things, they're always going to be there, those negative things. There's always going to be that thought. There's always going to be that perspective. But we just have to overcome that and find that, you know, the positivity. We have to find that, because if we don't, that is where we're going to, you know, freeze up in our lives. That's where life is literally going to come to a halt for us.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that, I think, is, for me, that's kind of what I feel with this virus as well. You know, in watching the news, like, I don't watch the news. I'm not a news person, and I'll walk out of the room, actually, you know, and with the news, because I don't feel that the news shows us good things. And I believe there is a lot of good things that happen within the world. You know, if there's something we need to know, we're certainly going to find out. It's going to be all over social media as well. But, you know, I really want to talk a little bit as well, like we've talked about, you know, sitting in the fear, and really what that fear is that brings forward to us as well. But I also want to bring forward, you know, the when we sit in fear, how much we point the finger and how much we blame, you know, other people, or, you know, the anger that arises, that comes out of that fear, and that anger is that comes out of that fear, or that blaming, is actually a way of being able to cope. And it is a coping mechanism for a lot of people. And the anger is actually fear, but not being able to express it in the mode of fear. Rather than doing that, it's an outward expression of so much anger, and there's so much of that seen as well. So when you do see people that are reacting, you know, in anger, yeah, you know, and pointing the finger and blaming, sometimes it's just easier to do that for some people, to be able to blame, because it makes them feel better. You know, where is this coming from, and what's that happening? I'm going to blame this one, I'm going to blame that one. And, you know, and there's really no one to blame for this. No one. It's a virus. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's nobody to blame. You know, if it's come into our world, we may not ever know the exact reason, you know, and then the reason might be different for every single one of us, right? To have this virus, to be able to sit, to be able to come within us, what is going to come out of this situation, of this virus, for each one of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
anger is a knee-jerk reaction to fear. So when you see people that are angry, instead of feeding that anger, you know, pour them a little bit of love, because they're scared.
yeah. Yeah. They're showing fear. You're exactly right. It's just a mere reflection of what's going on the inside.
Yep, exactly. So I think that's really important for us to recognize as we go through this, that as you see the reactions of people, whatever it is, and anger is a big one that people react with, you know, and they begin then pointing fingers, right? Trying to make a reason for it, and trying to figure it out, and trying to, you know, when there really isn't any way of really figuring out. It just is. It's a matter of accepting that this is what it is right now, and how can we make the best of this situation.
Yeah, and that goes right to choice. We always have the choice. It's always going to be around us. Like I said, that negativity will never leave. It might become less, but it will never totally be gone, because we have our elders, or we have our people who've always held on to that perspective, and that's totally their choice, and that's great if that's how they want to live. But you have the choice. You have the power of your own thoughts. So if you're in the room and the news turns on and you don't want to sit and listen to it, don't. You have that choice.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we've also got people that are, you know, still, you know, walking around thinking that this isn't going to affect them at all, you know, but I mean, that's the path, that's their path, that's their choice, that's their journey, you know. And if that's something that, you know, they need to do, we don't, you know, to sit in judgment of other people, again, is a reflection of ourselves, of what we feel that we have the right to, or the right to be, or what we believe in our minds. Our belief system triggers those rights of what we think. So you know, rather than sitting in that state of judgment, just sit back and you know, sit within yourself as to what your own belief system is, as to why is that triggering it for you? Why are you recognizing the things that people are doing that kind of piss you off a little bit? You know, as you're scrolling through, and somebody will do something, it's like, oh my God, just, you know, kind of thing. But there's a trigger within you that is creating that reaction, and everybody has them. I don't care what age you are. There's a trigger that that people will bring forward with actions that you will react to instead of respond. And reaction is about doing it in the moment. So when you're scrolling, I really suggest that when you read something, that you don't just type something out and send it, that you think about it a little bit, right? Why is this triggering this reaction in me? Because that's a lesson for us to be able to learn about what our deepest fears are. What is it that we are afraid of moving into, or moving through, or moving toward? Because quite often it's not even death. It's much deeper than that.
Exactly. And I think that it is our human responsibility when we as spiritual workers talk, to be grounded right now, to look at the positive side. That is all our human responsibility to do that. That's a natural tool that we all have within us to, find that calm in the middle of the storm. I've always described it as we're all these little individual boats, and we're all out in the ocean. And when there's a storm, it doesn't matter the size of our boat. If we can be strong in our structure, that wave, that storm is not going to knock us over, because we are confident in ourselves. We know who we are, that the chaos can be around us, but it's not going to break us. And that's where we need to be sitting at right now, with perspective that yes, this is here, this is happening, but what are we doing? Are we practicing yoga? Are we grounding our energy? Are we meditating? Are we taking self-love and doing things for ourselves? Are we finding the good out of all of this, or are we doing the complete opposite?
Yeah, are we being responsible? I love your analogy, Taylor, with the water with the boats, because it's really interesting. Because even in dreams, and I don't want to get off topic, but I just want to say, like within dreams, or within tarot cards, or anything else that you might work with, like water is about emotion, right? And it's funny because the boat is very significant, because a boat is representative on the water kind of your body in a dream. So when you talk about, you're being tossed around, and that's really what it is when we have a reaction. It is an emotional reaction to a situation. It may not be reality. It is simply an emotion that is triggered within us.
Exactly. And that goes to another question is, at this time, what are you doing for your body? How is your body getting through this? Because you're emotionally picking up everything that's around you. And of course, you're congested in some places and you're depleted in other places. So what are you doing for your body? No, you can't go to the gym right now. You can't go out in public. But what are you doing at home in your own space to keep that energy flowing within you? Because I'll tell you right now that if you are feeling all over the place, you're feeling very tossed up in all this drama and chaos, it's because you are out of balance. Your body is not open where it needs to be. So, that's another really good tip, is to get moving. If you're just sitting at home in your jammies all day, being a couch potato and eating everything you want to eat, you're not giving your body the love, the nutrients, and the energy it needs to make it through this. So, that's another thing to look at is, are you moving through this energy that we're going through? Because if it's just sitting in your body isn't going to make it through it.
No, that's exactly right, and that's a great tip. There's many things that we can do to uplift ourselves as well, as Taylor just talked about. Exercise, meditation is huge, as well, with all of this energy being so heavy. Self-care is really important. Salt baths is a way that I use. I love my salt bath. Getting in there, that salt is a deep cleanser for your aura as well, and actually helps to remove negative energies from around you, so that you can maybe disperse them. There's also different things that we can use. For example, smudging, within our home, and a lot of people may not believe in sponging, and that's okay if you don't. But smudging or sage is scientifically proven to take bacteria out of the air. So when we're sitting in an incident like this, where we've got a virus or things like this, and we've got things that are airborne, smudging using a sage might be a really great thing for you. If you don't want to do that, pick up some sage incense, burn some incense. Even that is going to break the energy up, you know, within your home. Candles can clear your air as well. There's many things that we can do to actually lighten the energy within our home. And many of you might be feeling that, you know, you feel very drawn down, you know, when you're within your home, even because of all the energy that is around, because of the fear, because of everything that has been brought. You know, when it's a nice day out and it heats up to +2 in Lloyd, or if you're someplace where it's warm, open your windows up. Open your windows up. You know, let the wind blow through. Even get a fan, you guys, and blow that air. Let it move. Move things around. Jump up and down.
Yeah.
Sing a song.
Yeah.
So yes, self-care is very important, and everybody does things in a very different way. You know, even in speaking with Taylor and I, you can tell the difference in our personality and how we kind of, you know, change one another. As you can see, Taylor is very grounded. She's a Cappy. You know, I have lots of Cappies in my life, love them to pieces. You know, I'm a Pisces. You know, my son is in Pisces, so I'm very emotional. But I'm also, my moon is in Leo, so I'm very passionate. And I've got lots of air in my chart. So I have a tendency to be very flighty. Taylor helps me to ground me, as we said. I actually sit on a grounding mat when I am doing readings and when I'm doing videos and things like that, so that I can stay grounded. There's also other ways that we can stay grounded, you guys, and other than just things like if you can't get outside, like, I mean, if you're elderly and it's hard for you, you know, to get outside and walk around, or if you have, you know, young children, or there's things you're constricted in some way that maybe you can't get outside and do these things. Or maybe you are coughing and you don't want to go outside because you don't want other people to catch things. There's other things you can use too, like there's crystals. We talk about crystals as well. There's many ways that we can ground ourselves. You know, we have so many ideas for so many different things that we want to speak to you guys in depth with over the next while, for however long this channel goes, and hopefully you guys love it and subscribe to it and come back and join Taylor and I on a regular basis. You know, we just want to give you guys just a few little tips to help you to be able to, you know, control yourself within this energy, to make it a little bit easier to walk through, because we are all in this together. You know, and this virus is just one thing, and although it's worldwide, you know, it really brings things into perspective for us about what is important, you know, in our lives every single day.